Good evening, believers. How are you doing today? This is Love Coach Dasha, and we are back with the Healing Hour Live. We skipped last week because of Thanksgiving, but I am glad to be back with you this week to talk about healing and reconciling after infidelity. Now, I know people will tell you that that's a very difficult thing to do. You shouldn't even try and do so. You should just kick him to the curb. You should just get him out of your life. But that's a little difficult if this is the person that you want in your life. Yes, they have messed up. Yes, they have. But something in you says that you really want to lean towards loving this person. You want to do that. You want to have this relationship repaired so that you can reconcile, so that you can be happy together again. And I am here to tell you all about how to do this. Hey there, looking good 156. I see you over there on Instagram. Hello, hello. All right, so we are excited to be back. Glad that you're here with me. Just so you know, I have a free resource available to you that is called How to Heal and Reconcile After Infidelity. If you are having trouble, it walks you through the 6 steps that I developed in my dreams formula to be able to heal and reconcile. All right, so if you're on Instagram, just put in the word path, PATH, or healing path, either way. And on my Love After Cheating group on Facebook, it is in the pinned post. Okay, so you can find it anywhere absolutely free, and you can get this resource to be able to help you along the path. It explains that you are in the deep dark woods and exactly how to get out of the woods. All right, but we can talk a little bit more about that today. All righty, so first things first, we always go back to the basics when we are talking about this healing process because this is a trauma. All right. This is a trauma. You have been through the trauma of somebody cheating on you. And while you shouldn't have to heal from this happens to a ton of people every single day, not just every single year, every single day on this planet. So we've got to figure out how to heal from this. This is a very common thing. If you've been through this trauma, you will notice that a whole lot of TV shows, a whole lot of movies are based around people cheating. All right. And that makes sense because it's one of the most basic conflicts that there are between people. And it is one of the most severe and traumatizing because it's a betrayal by somebody that is so close to you. That's why there are so many songs written about it. That's why there are so many movies about it, because it is a deep conflict, a deep trauma that happens to a ton of people. So we've got to figure out, instead of letting us be dragged down by this, we have to be stressed and angry and hurt and never open ourselves up again. We've got to figure out how to do that. We've got to figure out how to let down the walls, open up, and be loving again, because this trauma reaction is based in fear. We are not being loving when we are being fearful. We are worried about ourselves and nobody else, and that's not loving. So if we want love in our lives, we cannot be constantly protecting ourselves from other people. You automatically assume that other people are going to do you wrong. Well, yeah, you're going to have a lot of people do you wrong. Okay. If you expect it, it will happen. So I want you to start to actually heal from this. Start to actually get to a place where you can let yourself let people in. The fear will tell you that it's too dangerous, it's too scary to do that. But it's scary to be without people, isn't it? Isn't it scary to think that you wouldn't have your honey anymore because you just couldn't open yourself up to him anymore? That would suck, wouldn't it? It would suck for me. I know he's my honey. He is my person. So if I were not able to open myself up to him anymore, I'd be feeling really bad. So you got to choose like what feel bad you're going to do. You can feel bad and start healing the trauma and getting better, even if the relationship between the two of you does not work out. Okay, now I am all for that. That is what I am here for, to help you work out this relationship that you want to be in. But even if it does not work out, you still got to do that same amount of healing outside of the relationship thing. If you try and do this and you just decide that, you know what, I don't feel like this is worth it, I am just gonna leave. I don't feel like I should be forced to try and heal this thing with this person. Okay, you can do that. You can absolutely do that, but you're gonna have to do that healing at some point. And without the person who hurt you, now you're directing that at the next person who hasn't hurt you. All right. You are automatically more paranoid, more wary in future relationships until you can heal this. So this trauma has to heal. All right. There's too many women carrying it around with them. I know that you have heard in all the groups that you've been in about how many women are like, oh, I'm so sorry I stayed. I wish I just left him. You should just leave him. There's a lot of that going around because of the trauma, and you've not actually healed the trauma. So your advice to people is just leave, run, do what the fear tells you to do. I am here to tell you not to do what the fear tells you to do, okay? It is not good for you. The fear doesn't want a happy, loving life for you. The fear wants you to be alone. The fear wants you to back off of people. The fear wants you not to be afraid anymore. But if you're constantly listening to the fear, you're going to be constantly afraid. So we've got to learn to heal from this, okay? It's big time. It's big time. We've got to heal from this. So, what we're going to do is start to work on the trauma aspect of it, okay? This trauma affects everybody almost exact same way. We all have a fight or flight instinct. We all have this thing in our head that clicks on when this type of betrayal happens to us, and it does certain things. The very first thing that you would probably notice is it makes your heart pound and it makes your breath come short, right? That feeling of overwhelm, of panic, of hurt, of just feeling like you cannot get your head above water. That is completely normal and what almost everybody goes through, okay? Unless you just don't care about this person at all, you have no real connection, then you could probably skip it. But most people feel exactly like that. And that is because there is a change that goes on in your body when you are traumatized. Your brain gets you ready for fight or flight. You've heard that before. You want to fight, and so it directs the blood to your big muscles in your arms, or you want to run away real fast. It directs the blood flow to your legs. So that is what is happening. It is a physical thing you are feeling. When you are feeling all out of breath, when you are feeling like your head is spinning, that is a physical thing that is happening because of the trauma. So we've got to do a physical thing to get rid of that feeling, okay? And the physical thing that you do inside this body is breathe. That's all you got to do. The breathing that comes with that fight or flight response is very shallow. You end up sipping in air and never fully exhaling. That buildup of carbon dioxide fuels that feeling like something is wrong. I need to be ready. All right. You've got to actually blow out all that excess carbon dioxide and breathe in some good fresh oxygen nice and slowly. That is the opposite breathing of I am in a panic state. That is I am in a calm state. And if you do that breathing, you tell your brain, no, we are not in a panic state. No, no, we are not going to sit here and have a whole panic attack. I'm not ready to fight anybody. I'm not ready to run anywhere. I am all right. I am safe. And then you tell your brain with that physical action of breathing. All right. So that's why we do our deep breathing. Have you been doing your deep breathing since the last time I saw you 2 weeks ago? Have you been doing your deep breathing? If you have not, I'm trying to tell you, you need to get on that. You need to start doing that on a regular basis, especially if you are suffering from that feeling. It is a very physical feeling, it's all throughout your entire body. All right. So if you are constantly having some discomfort from your body reacting to this fight or flight, you need to start doing your deep breathing. You need to do it anyway. All right. Even if you're not having a really, really hard time with the fight or flight, you still need to be doing it because it helps clear your mind, get good fresh oxygen into your brain, feeds your cells, lets you be able to handle this trauma. Okay. So what we do is 4-7-8 breathing. You can do whatever kind of breathing you want. You feel free. It does not matter to me at all as long as you are doing it. And we need to be doing this 5 times a day, okay? Don't forget, put it in your phone. If you work with me, I send you messages. If you get into my one-on-one coaching and my After Infidelity Mastermind, you will get regular text messages. We will sit down, figure out when you need to breathe, and 5 times through the day, I will send you text messages and let you know, breathe, girl, breathe. All right. So we need to do 4-7-8 breathing. What we're going to do is blow out, make the noise when you blow out to go ahead and blow. And that's a trigger in your brain. You'll hear that sound and you will know, oh, this is time where we're calming down. Your brain will know that from the sound. Then we are inhaling for a count of 7. And then we are going to blow out. Oh, we're going to hold, or we're going to breathe in for a count of 4. My bad. Exhale first, breathe in for a count of 4, hold the breath for a count of 7, and then we're going to blow out like we're blowing out an entire cake full of birthday candles for a count of 8. Okay, we're going to do it 3 times together for the sake of time, but like I said, 5 times a day. This was going to keep you from getting way up there. It's going to keep that anxiety level down during the day, make it manageable for you to be able to deal with the day-to-day issues that pop up with dealing with this trauma. Okay. So, first thing we're going to do is blow out. Breathe in through your nose. 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Blow out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Blow out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Last time. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Blow out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Beautiful. I love it. Thank you for joining me for your deep breathing. How does it feel when you are doing your deep breathing? Let me know because it should feel better. It should feel like you got some oxygen flowing into your brain all of a sudden. Might make you a little sleepy though, because that fresh oxygen hitting your brain, if you haven't been taking any deep breaths, it will make you a little sleepy. But it will make you feel better. It will make you feel a little stronger. It will make you feel like, okay, I've got a grip on myself. I can do this. All right. Fantastic. Next thing that we're always going to talk about every single time we get together is I want you to do your journaling. Have you been doing your journaling? I need you to be on that. Okay. I know it is hard. I know it's hard to remember. I forget my journaling too sometimes, but I have tried to make a practice of spending 5 minutes first thing in the morning and right before I go to bed, taking a little time exploring my feelings, thinking about things that have gone on during the day, things I'm proud of, things that I could have handled better, all of that stuff for about 5 minutes in the morning and the evening every day. If you can get into the habit, you will have this amazing record of like all your triggers, all of the things that stressed you, how you handled things, when it went well, when it didn't go well. You will have a book filled with clues. Okay. I need you to get on that. I need you to get on that like now so that you give yourself that clue. You will have an entire book filled with exactly what is going on in your head. And it's a whole lot easier to figure out when you're writing it down because this trauma response, the fight or flight, makes your memory kind of bad. All right. So if you think you're remembering everything real well right now and you're not writing it down, you are not. Okay, let me just tell you now, you're not remembering like you think you're remembering. And that is because stress affects your memory. So you are going to be wiping out whole things that you have learned if you're not writing them down on a regular basis. So to do your journaling, you need to start off date, time, level of anxiety. Okay, date and time. That is going to be so that you have a record of when things happen. If you find out that every Thursday at 9:19 p.m. you are having a panic attack, you are freaking out, you will know, okay, well, about 7 o'clock, maybe I need to start working on it. Maybe I need to do something relaxing, trying to get control of myself, start doing my deep breathing, do a little journaling. What is making me feel like that? Because obviously something ahead of that has happened that I would started feeling like that at 9:19. So let me figure out what's going on in those hours before. Is it he comes home later that day? Anything. It could be anything that would trigger you. And so you might not know that unless you've written it down and you've got the dates and times to confirm, oh, this happens repeatedly at this time. This happens repeatedly on these dates. So then you have proof you're not crazy. It really is happening, and you can actually do something about it. And these triggers won't keep hitting you completely unaware. Okay. So, daytime level of anxiety. Level of anxiety is 0 to 10. We've got to put a fence around these feelings because, honey, they can act like they're going to eat you. They can get real, real big, and it feels like it's Godzilla and it feels like it's going to eat you, but it really isn't. It can only be as bad as 0 to 10. Zero is no anxiety whatsoever. The monster is gone. The skies are blue. Everything is right with the world. 10, on the other hand, is the monster is throwing a fit and you feel like you are ready to rip your hair out, tear your clothes off, run screaming down the street naked because you have completely lost control of yourself. Tell me in the comments, have you felt like you have completely lost control of yourself before? Because trust and believe, with this type of trauma, that is something that happens. All right. So I bet you've been at a 10 before. If you're at a 10, please do not sit there and act like you're going to write in a journal. Okay. If you're at a 10, you have lost control of yourself. You don't have the control to be able to sit down and write in a book. So if you are writing in your journal and you're like, yes, right now I'm feeling like a 10, you're not. It's less than that. It's an 8, maybe, maybe even a 9, but it's not a 10 because you have not lost control of yourself yet. Okay, you're not throwing anything, you're not screaming. If you got your journal open, you have some control over yourself. Okay, so that's as big as the monster can get. That's as bad as it can be. Is you are yelling, screaming, throwing things, acting a complete fool. That is as bad as it can possibly be. Okay, can't get any bigger than that. Can't eat you. So now we've got some fences around these feelings. When you start your journaling, you put where you are out of 10 for the top. And then as soon as you finish writing, evaluate how did it work. Were you at a 9 when you started? Where are you at now? If you're at like a 7, that worked. That 5 minutes of journaling helped you, helped calm you, helped bring you back to center, helped you feel better. So if you need any proof that this is going to be an excellent thing for you, just try it for a week. Okay, just try this for a week. 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening. Give yourself this little bit of self-care. It will work for you. Okay. The next thing that we are always going to talk about in order to help you heal from this trauma is I need you to develop an attitude of gratitude. Okay. I need you to cultivate it. I need you to focus on it. I need you to just plant those seeds on a regular basis that you want to be grateful for things because there is steps from being completely miserable and betrayed to becoming happy. Grateful is in the middle there. All right. You don't have to try and leap from miserable to happy. You can use gratitude as an intermediate step to let your body start to re regulate to being good, to having good things happen. and then you can get to the happy a lot easier. It's a shorter step. So we've got to develop that attitude of gratitude every single day. Look for the things that make you feel grateful, okay? Every day, all around you, every little thing, and write them down. Put them in your journal. You can take a jar and like just fill it with little sticky notes of things that you feel grateful for. Read it at the end of the month and still don't feel good, okay? Just all day long because your brain on trauma will always default to the negative. It is always going to do that. It is always going to say the worst possible thing that could happen. So if you go to purposely looking for things to be grateful for, your brain is being interrupted from that cycle. Your brain is not automatically able to just think of all the negative things. It still will for a while, but as you practice that gratitude, practice focusing on the good things in your life, that negativity will start to turn around. You'll start to be a little bit more easy to see those good things happen. Okay. So I need you to be doing a gratitude practice. That's why I do Thirsty Thursdays every Thursday. I want to hear the good stuff that is happening with you. I want to hear what good things that you have going on in your life that you can be grateful for. So you're here with me, Nikki. I see you over here. Who else is in the Facebook group? Like so I can see who you are, or give me comments, give me likes, give me love. Let me know who you are in the Facebook group, and tell me something good that happened this week. If you're within the sound of my voice, I want to hear something beautiful that happened to you this week, something that you are grateful for this week. All right, bust it out for me. I don't know, what am I grateful for this week? I'm grateful for, oh goodness, it's my friend's birthday today. I'm grateful for her. Let's see. I don't know. I'm grateful for doggone heat. I tell you that much right now. It's been cold. And Virginia is not typically like freezing in December. We don't do that. It's usually still around like 60s, 50s, but it has been dropping down, and I am grateful for heat. I am grateful for central heat in the home. It is a beautiful thing. All right, let's see. You can post it in the comments. Let me know. I'll tell people all about your good news because I want us to share good news. It's very easy, if you've noticed in like other groups that are all about after infidelity, like they are all pretty negative. And it's because everybody's going through the exact same thing. You know what I mean? But if we are so able to share the negative, we need to be so able to share the positive too. We need to remember to do that because the trauma is leading us to share the negative. In order to heal from the trauma, we got to do the opposite of what the trauma is telling us to do, and that is sharing the good. So I want you to be real focused on that this week. Pay attention to your good things, all the wonderful things that could happen in your life around you. I'm grateful for Thanksgiving last week because honey, we ate some food. It's good stuff that you've got to be focused on so that your brain will start to change. Okay. Last thing that I'm always going to tell you every time we get together, I need you to stop asking all those questions, okay? Do you hear me? Are you with me? I need y'all to stop asking all those damn questions, okay? It is not good for you. Somebody was saying in the in the group chat that she was like, "Well, I collected all the evidence and I felt better," and I'm like, "Yeah." Because it's like an itch. It's an itch that you want to scratch. And it's a trauma response. Trust and believe. Anything that you would feel like you need to do compulsively after this, that is a trauma response. Okay. It's all part of it. You can actually tell the things that the fear wants you to do by how intensely they want you to do it. You want to ask the questions, right? You want to be clear. You want to have everything understood. You want complete transparency. You want to know everything from A to B or A to Z, beginning to end. And I get that because it is a trauma response. Your brain is programmed for that. Your brain is programmed to seek out information on a threat. That is what it is supposed to do. It does that, and it does that very, very well. And it does that by telling you, here, ask him this question. I bet you could trip him up if you ask him this question. I bet you he won't answer the same if you ask him this question. So it is a trauma response, and if you keep doing it, that forms a loop in your brain. It will continue to happen. You will come up with all sorts of questions. The lady that was saying that in the group, she said, "Yeah, my brain still comes up with all of the questions. All of the questions pop up, but I choose not to ask them." And I was like, that's the key thing right there. You asked the questions, and you felt like, okay, well, I got to a point where I knew enough that okay, this is enough, and then you stopped yourself from continuing to ask those questions, which is excellent. You have to stop at some point. You've got a lot of answers, and if you haven't even been writing them down in your journal, how are you remembering them? Okay, we got to use those journals, right? Write down the questions, write down the answers, and then choose not to continue that forever, because you just can't. Your brain will just keep going in this loop. You'll keep thinking over and over and over again about all the questions that you could ask. It'll frustrate you. It'll frustrate him, and you won't get anywhere with your healing. All right. So that being said, again, it is a trauma response. Your brain is doing this automatically, and it wants to ask questions. It wants to have very clear things it knows about what it considers a threat. So instead of allowing your brain to just continue to let this person be a threat in your brain, you can try these. All right. This is TheAnd, the and it's by the people at theskindeep.com. You can find it at Amazon. TheAnd. That's all you got to put in. It's in there. Okay. All right. So these are really good questions. This is the Healing Edition deck. I've got the long term couple deck, but we'll do healing tonight. And I will give you better questions to ask. Okay. Please don't ask the questions that are going around in your head. What positions did y'all have sex in? And did you love her? Did you tell her that you loved her? And how many times did you talk a day? You don't need to know those things. Okay. All of that extra information, again, in this trauma state is not good for you. It is just feeding the trauma more and more fear all the time. Every time that you ask it a question and he tells you something that you really didn't need to hear, it devastates you. It is reinforcing in your brain that, oh, this person is a threat. I gotta keep treating them like a threat. I gotta keep questioning them. I gotta make sure that I don't trust them until you never heal. All right. So you've got to stop asking all those questions. But if you are just hell bent on asking a question, if your brain is itching, because it will, to ask a question, choose some of these. Okay. So this one says, when you think about us, what comes to mind? Better question, right? Isn't that a much less threatening question than some of the questions that you want to ask, right? And then I think so. When you think about us, what comes to mind? That could be wonderful things. You could hear all sorts of beautiful things if you ask that question. If you ask him what positions they had sex in, then you're going to be stressed. Okay, that answer, no, none of those answers is good for you. None of those answers will make you happy. None of those answers will help you heal. Okay. Second one is, in what ways do you think you perceive life differently than I do? And we all perceive life differently because each one of our little brains is our own little universe. And trust and believe, we do not have the same perception as other people. Your perception is your perception. This world is uniquely designed to your brain. So there are going to be some differences. So this is a good question to ask. It's an interesting question to ask. In what ways do you perceive life differently than I do? That's a good question to know between you and your honey. And one more. What direction do you see me heading in? That's a good question. Now, if he's telling you, hey, I see you heading down a dark road, you won't let this go, we're not healing, you need to listen to that. Now, you want to ask questions, you better ask up answers. Okay. So what direction do you see me heading in? You got to accept whatever it is. If it's a good way or if it's a bad way, you need to hear that and understand that that is their perception and what they're seeing as far as your life together. Right? All right. So you all let me know if those are good questions for you. All right. So that is the basics. That's all of the things that I teach you every single week that I want you to know, that I want you to remember every time we talk. Integrate these things into your life. I promise you it will help the healing. These are very, very basic things. If you can do these four things, it's actually five because at the end I tell you to do affirmation. You can do these five things and then follow the 6 steps of the dreams formula. That's 11 things. Okay, that's all it is. It's 11 things. You can do that. You can do that. Follow through with these things, and you are going to feel better. You're going to be able to communicate better with your honey. You're not going to feel like you're just going to throw everything away and run away because you'll be dealing with that trauma a lot better, calming yourself, soothing yourself, making it so that you feel that connection again. That's what's been missing. We've got to do the things that will help that connection be formed again. When we are doing the things that the trauma says to do, we're we're loosening that connection. We are dismantling it. We are making it so it is harder for us to connect because trauma and fear don't care about love. Trauma and fear don't give a damn if you want to be close to him. Trauma and fear says he's a threat. You need to treat him like a threat. Go hide in a hole somewhere so this threat doesn't get to you anymore. And that's not going to be good for your relationship now, is it? All right. All right. So I got some questions. Glad to hear questions. But hey, if you are here with me right now on Instagram or over here on Facebook, go ahead and put some questions in the comments. I got you, okay? The first one was from Jessica. Jessica was asking about healing from a narcissist. Now I have to ask because there's so many people using that word now. And I used to work in a mental health facility. I worked there for like 6 years. I met exactly two narcissists, two diagnosed narcissists. Okay. And let me tell you, yes, they can be charming. Yes, they can. However, it is very clear that you got a narcissist. It's very clear when you meet up with them. There's something about them that kind of creeps you out. All right. So if you had a real live diagnosed narcissist, you'd have felt something about that before he started behaving in a narcissistic way. Everybody's got narcissism in them. Everybody can be all out for self, thinking that they're the most important, they're the most grand. Everybody's got that. That's what your trauma response is. It's very narcissistic. It is very about you. You are the only thing that is important here, period. Okay. So we've all got that in us. That is not a strange thing to have happen. To be a diagnosed narcissist, though, that is a completely different ballgame. That is completely different behaviors. You would have known before he cheated that there was something a little bit off about him. There's something that you're like, I can't quite put my finger on it, but I don't know if I necessarily can trust this person. If all of a sudden you just started mistrusting them after they cheated, then they probably are a narcissist, okay? You would have picked up on it. I want people to understand that this is a word that's being kind of overused. So that's why I asked, is this a real diagnosed narcissist? Somebody who has been to the doctor, they have broke out the DSM, and they're like, oh yeah, definitely, this is what's going on with you. Or is it a personal opinion? Have you been hearing that word tossed about and oh well yeah, other people said that this is narcissistic behavior, that he's cheating, so yes, he's a narcissist too. Look, we've got to stop doing this, okay? We got to stop trying to diagnose people. I was a nurse for 20 years, and um one of the things that I learned in nursing school, one of the very first things I learned in nursing school is that nurses, nobody but a doctor actually can diagnose people. All right. You're not going to be diagnosing somebody and be correct. Probably not. All right. You don't have the skills for it. You don't have the background. You wouldn't necessarily know if this person was a narcissist, like diagnostically. Okay. So we've got to stop trying to diagnose people. We've got to stop doing that to other people. If you want to self diagnose, if you want to deal with your own personal issues, like I said, I'm self diagnosing and figuring out that I more than likely have ADHD, and from the testing, I'm on the spectrum a little bit too. So that was okay, self diagnosing about me. I'm not self diagnosing anybody else. All right. I'm not doing that for anybody else. If you happen to be a narcissist, you're going to have to go to your doctor and figure that out. Okay. That's the first thing. But as far as healing after this, you are, if you're saying a healing after this, this person in particular has left. Um, this is still all the same things that you're going to have to go through. You're going to have to decide that you want to heal. You are going to have to deal with the fears that you have about healing. You're going to have to evaluate why this has happened, what was going on in the situation, so you can evaluate the situation so that if the situation comes up again, you will know it, you will recognize it. Allowing that healing to happen, allowing that wall to drop, allowing yourself to be the person that you wanted to be, the loving, open, happy, forgiving, compassionate, a completely healed person that you want to be. You got to act like that. And is managing those future triggers. You're going to be triggered by things that other people do because this relationship ended the way that it did. So you're going to have to make sure that you are managing those triggers when they happen. You're not allowing those triggers to just ruin the life that you are trying to develop right now. You've got to have a plan for them. So when they do hit, they are not messing with you. They are not taking you down. And then, of course, and seek support. I'm glad you're here, Jessica. I'm glad that you're asking about this, that you need to figure out how to heal from this. I'm glad that you know that because that's a big thing is knowing that you need to heal. A lot of people feel like, oh, I'll just sweep it under the rug. Okay, well, it's over now. I'll just keep on going. But the same process, even if you stayed, needed to be applied for you to be able to heal now so that you can feel better, so that you can feel stronger, so that you can feel like you can move on with your life and be the person that you want to be in spite of this trauma happening to you. That's a huge thing. That's a lot of the power that you get to take back when this happens. For me, I know for sure being able to take that power back and say, you know what, I love this person. I am not going to let this relationship go. I am not going to feel like I'm just backed into a corner and I have no choices. I have choices. I can decide what happens from right now, from right here, and that's what I'm going to do. And that's a lot of power to take back. That when in a situation where you didn't have the power to stop it from happening, to be able to say, you know what, I do have power to heal. I do have power not to sit here and dwell in it. I do have the power to beat back that fear so that I'm not consistently feeling afraid about all my relationships. I'm not going to be like that. I am choosing that I want to heal. All right. All right. Anything else? What else is going on here? Let me see. I got some questions. Oh, let's see. Let me see down here. Oh, yeah. Oh, I was gonna talk about um if you have been in the situation where there is a baby from the cheating. Have we been there? Have we experienced that? Oh, honey, I'm trying to tell you. Woo, I've been through that. Okay, let me tell you about it, right? My husband worked with this girl in a bar. All right, he's a cook, so he was cooking, and she somehow got him alone. She was actually already pregnant. Now, we did not know that for sure. That was the rumor that was going around, but she got him to her place alone and made sure that they had sex. Um, and And then we went through the whole DNA test and going to court and doing all that, all to find out that wasn't his kid at all. But what if it is? Like, what if that is the case? Having to deal with baby mama, having to deal with the baby. All right. That is a big deal. That is a huge thing that happens for people. Um, my best advice, first of all, you've got to set yourself up that as the queen of this situation. Just because a usurper came around and jumped in bed with the king and tried to get a baby, that doesn't make her queen. That's not what it is. And so just coming at it from that aspect, coming at it from that point of view, okay? You don't have to be mean to her. You don't have to care like that about this other woman. The trauma, the fear, the pain is going to focus a lot of your attention on her. It's going to say that, oh, she is the source of all this pain. She is the source of all these problems. I need to hate her. I need to focus all my attention on her. But you focusing all your attention on her, isn't that what he was doing? All right, we can't make these side chicks feel all important. Okay, that is just absolutely unacceptable. We cannot continue to do that. If you are worried about her, always giving him a hard time about her, always starting a fight with her, and never having any peace, you are showing that you believe that this person is a threat to you, that this woman could possibly take your spot. Somehow or another, she can get your throne and get your crown. You got to stop believing that. You got to stop believing in that. Because, honest to God, most of the time, when they go off and they go play house, even if they go off and leave and go with the other person, it doesn't work out. It's not going to work out. The relationship wasn't based on anything, it was based on two people having a hard time, probably. He was having some difficulty, he was having some pain, and she was having some difficulty, and she definitely didn't feel good about herself because she went ahead and slept with a man that was unavailable. Went ahead and did that completely unprotected, not trying to protect herself at all, and ended up getting knocked up. So you got to stop treating them like they're a threat. All side chicks, we are not treating them like that from this moment on. Oh, that's going to be our theme 2025. We are not making side chicks feel like they are important. Okay, we are not doing that. The more you focus on her, the more attention, the more hate, the more petty you give her, the more she knows that you care, that she could be a threat to you. So she'll keep on working your nerves. Okay. If you never act like she's a threat in any way, shape, or form, you can get pretty comfortable in knowing that it's not going anywhere because you're not feeding into it the way that they are. Okay. So the baby. The baby is a hard thing. The baby is a different thing altogether. And the thing is, I think this comes down to two camps. And I'm not going to say which one is necessarily the right way to do it. It is just the way you happen to be able to handle it. There is the camp of accepting the baby, the camp of the baby can come visit. There's some visitation. There is some ground rules, some boundaries. All right, some apps for you all to communicate and whatnot. But the baby will be allowed in your lives. The baby will grow up around their father. All right, that's one camp. Then there is the other camp, the camp of screw that kid. All right, that is a completely different set of circumstances. I don't want to hear about this kid. If you go over there and you visit the kid, I don't want to hear about it. Or even worse, I don't want to hear at all about this kid, so you can't go and be a part of their lives. It comes down to what type of man you want to be with. What type of man do you want to actually have? Do you want a man who feels comfortable completely shirking all their responsibilities? They messed this up. It was his fault, and I feel like it may be letting him off the hook a little bit if you don't have him go ahead and take care of what he made. All right. Now that may not involve, baby coming over or whatever. They can meet in a specific place. There's drop off points. Police stations do that. and he can spend some time with the baby and then, drop him off back. There are ways to get around it, but I feel like you've got to figure out who you want to be married to, what values, what morals you want to see from the individual that you are living with. And would you feel comfortable with him being comfortable never seeing or taking care of the child that he made? Like, you've got to decide which camp that you're in. Now, you can switch. You can switch out. It's a little harder to switch from seeing the kid to not seeing the kid, because that's a little bit more trauma we're inflicted on an innocent child. But going from not seeing them to, okay, yeah, maybe you can go ahead and see them. Maybe they can be in your life a little bit. That's a reasonable thing. You could do that. So there, it is all about what you want your life to be. And I understand not wanting that kid around, not wanting to see this reminder of this betrayal, not wanting to have to help take care of this reminder of the betrayal. But this is also a child who had zero to do with it. Zero. Absolutely nothing. They weren't even there at the time. They got created after the fact. So you let me know. Go ahead in the comments, post in the comments. Tell me which camp that you fall into. Do you fall into the let him be a grown up, let him be the man of this child's life, or nope, we're not having that around us. We're not doing it. We're just not gonna go for it. So let me know. All right. Let's see. Got any other questions? There's always more questions. And make sure put your questions in the comments if you got something that you want to ask me, something that you'd like to understand. All right. This is a great question. Liz was saying that last night he was saying he was upset that she didn't trust him, and she's asking about how to be understanding about that, because the way she's feeling, she feels like, well, why should I have to be compassionate about that? It's your fault that I don't trust you, and I completely understand that point of view. I get that perspective. Okay. However, it's all about being in alignment with what you really want. Now, if you are in the alignment of, I don't want to forgive, I don't want to trust you anymore, all right, the relationship is pretty much over. So if you're staying, what you have to decide is, I have to do the actions of a person who's staying. I have to do the actions of a person who is healing from this and not just a person who is hurting from this. So it is kind of fair, and I know this might cause an argument. It is kind of fair for him to say, look, I'm doing what I can to be trustworthy, but you just not trusting me. It is fair for him to be able to say that to you, because at some point you're going to have to do that. You can't just have a relationship where you just not going to trust them forever and ever. Amen. That is not going to be a healthy, happy relationship for you at all. And it's not going to be a healthy, happy relationship for them. And it's damn sure not going to be a healthy, happy relationship for you and your children. Your children are going to see that you can be in a relationship with somebody that you don't actually trust. Like, is that what you want to teach them? So instead of that, you've got to remember to work on the trust. If he's pointing out to you, like, hey, I'm doing the trustworthy stuff and you're not giving me any trust back, okay, be willing to be reasonable about that. Talk to him about it. Okay, well, what exactly are you thinking that I should do to show you a little bit of trust right now? In this particular circumstance, what is it? And then try it, practice it. Your trust is not given to you. There is nothing that he can do at all in the world that is going to give you your trust back. Your trust is like a muscle. After you've been hurt, that muscle is not used. It starts to atrophy, it starts to weaken. We've got to work out with resistance so that that muscle can be built back up again. And the resistance is, I don't want to, but I am choosing to. My everything in me is saying, no, you shouldn't trust him on his Snapchat. And then you're like, well, Snapchat is a regular thing. I'm regularly on Snapchat. Why shouldn't he be on Snapchat again? Because I don't trust him. Okay, well, I'm going to have to trust him. I'm going to have to believe, because that's what trust is, a belief in the goodness or the faithfulness of somebody. That is what trust is. It is your belief. You can choose to believe or you can choose not to. You've got to make up in your mind who you are trying to be. If you want to be a trusting person, if you want to be open, loving, able to relax and let your guard down, then you've got to practice that. It's not one of those things that just happens to you. We were talking the last time we were together, we we're talking about how time doesn't heal anything. Okay. You got to heal. You got to do the actions of healing to heal. And part of the actions of healing is to develop that trust again, to say, okay, I'm going to let you go ahead and go out with your friends. All right. It's somebody's birthday. Y'all are going to hang out. I'm going to believe the best of you. I'm going to trust you that you are going to do the right things, that I don't have to worry about you. I'm not going to be calling you all night. I'm not going to be checking in with you. I'm not going to be trying to ruin your night. But it'd be nice if you called me just to reassure me a little bit throughout the night, a little bit. Now, I'm not saying that that is supposed to help your trust. Now, I'm just saying you can ask them to do that to help you. Now, they may or may not do it, but again, the trust is all coming from you. It's coming from inside you. The trust when you first fell in love, I hate to tell people this, the trust when you first fell in love is completely blind and completely ridiculous. Okay. The fact that you love somebody and you trusted them 100% was insanity. Okay. That wasn't cool. It was never okay. It was the fact that when you fell in love, your body and your brain produced certain chemicals and it created your trust. It made you decide that this is somebody that you wanted to trust because those hormones were flowing. Trusting them 100% was never a good idea. I don't trust myself 100%. I can't sit here and be like, oh, Dasha, you're going to come through 100% of the time for me, because I'm not. I got problems. I got the ADHD flowing. I'm not going to finish things on time. I know that. I know that about myself. So why in the world would I think that somebody else could be trusted 100% of the time? That's insanity. It was always insanity. So we got to bring that expectation back down a little bit. Like I said, if you could average out all the things that you can trust somebody on, there's a whole bunch of things that you could trust them on besides whether he will cheat, whether he will lie about that particular thing. There's a whole bunch of other things that you could trust him on. So if you average out that grade, anybody in your life around 80%, you're doing pretty good. The grade is not bad. It's a B. All right. Not everybody can have an A in your life. Right now, I told my husband that the other day. I told him about not trusting anybody 100%. He was kind of mind blown. I thought he had heard that before, but he was kind of mind blown that I said that. He was like, but I feel like I trust everybody 100% until they, prove that they can't be trusted. I was like, the fact that you're waiting for them to show you that they can't be trusted shows that you don't trust them 100%. Like, it's insane to do so. Putting 100% of your faith in somebody else, somebody whose brain is a completely different universe than yours, is not a wise idea anyway. But if your people, the people who are closest to you, are in the 80% range, 75. Shoot, 70. If you can trust somebody 75%, that's like three-quarters of the time. All right. Most of the time you can trust them. If you can do that, you can have a much more realistic vision of trust, of what trust actually is. Trust is how much you believe in somebody, and believing in somebody 100% is delusional. So let's back that up and work on trusting from a much more realistic place. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. All right. Any other questions, comments, thoughts, complaints, anything going on, anything you want to ask me? You know I'm here for you. You let me know if you need help, if you are struggling, if you feel like you need some one-to-one help, if you feel like you might need a group setting and other women to talk to about this type of thing, you need to message me. Go ahead and message me on Instagram in my DMs, Love Coach Tasha, or on my Love After Cheating Facebook group if you're in the group, or on my Love Coach Dasha Facebook page. Message me, okay? Just message me. We can talk about it. We can figure out what you need. We can get you to a better place so you feel like you're on stable ground. It's almost Christmas. It's almost like really the heart of the holiday season. It's stressful, especially if you haven't healed from this yet. It's really super stressful. So instead of stressing about it and trying to do it on your own and trying to make it through the holidays and trying to white knuckle through everything, get some help. I am here. I am offering a little bit of assistance to you. I want to do that for you. So let me know if you are interested. All right. Okay. I think that's about it. I don't see any other questions. All right. Okay. Let's see. Did I actually answer healing from a narcissist? Oh, yes, I did. Okay. All right. Making sure I had said that. Right? What you do to actually heal. Because you got to make up your mind that you're going to heal. And that you're not gonna believe whatever narcissistic thing that they told you. All right, let's see. Last thing, every time we get together, I'm gonna tell you to do your affirmation. I need you to do your affirmations, okay? I need you to sit down every day, pick one, and look yourself in the eye and say it like you mean it, all right? What we're doing is creating a tape, okay? We're creating a memory of you saying good things about you that your brain can replay when you need it the most. You can go back to that memory and your brain will remember that you felt like that was an important thing to say and an important thing to know about yourself. So when you do this, you are rewiring your brain. You are telling your brain what you want it to feel in that moment. Every time you say that affirmation throughout the day, you're telling your brain how you want it to feel. It's going to help with your healing. It's going to help repair some of those pathways in your brain that have been damaged by the trauma, because the trauma thoughts will tell you, oh, you're worthless and he doesn't love you. And that's why he was able to cheat on you. You were never worth anything to him. It'll tell you all that crazy stuff about yourself, which is not true. It is all just a trauma response. All right. So tell yourself, look yourself in the eye and tell yourself the affirmation like you mean it. I got these cards. This came from Five Below. This is the deck that I've been working from, but you can find them anywhere. Go on Chat GPT and have them write you some really good affirmations that are specifically for you. You do all sorts of good stuff with the affirmations. Okay. So today I'm gonna say today I feel good. That's a hard one, right? Okay. Today I feel good. Today I know deep down that I look good, feel good, and I'm a good person. Isn't that a better message than what you've been telling yourself? I need you to get on a good message to yourself. I need you to focus on implanting this into your brain today. Today I feel good. Today I know deep down that I look good, feel good, and I am a good person. All right. And you are. You do look good. You should feel good. And you are most assuredly a good person, because anybody who is going for unconditional love in such a tragic circumstance, you're a good person. You believe in love. You believe in happiness and forgiveness and compassion and understanding. You are a good person. So, that being said, I love you and I'm so, so proud of you. And I think that's just about it for the Healing Hour Live. You all make sure to DM me if you need some help, if you are looking for a little assistance this season. Before the new year comes, you can start feeling like you're on stable ground by working with me, okay? So that's about it. Thanks so much for coming. I will see you again next week, Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Healing Hour Live. And I love y'all, and I will talk to y'all again next week. Bye, Instagram. And bye over here on Facebook and YouTube.